spent the day cleaning, prepping, because baby's coming tomorrow, which is insane. And I've been slightly freaking out, but I'm excited. I just want to meet him. It's been the longest pregnancy journey. And we're about to send Willow off. Oh my god, I'm so sad. I'm feeling weird about leaving her, obviously. Just a baby. Just a baby. About to have a brother. You don't even know it yet. But next time I see you, we'll have a brother. Are you excited?
Excited.
What are we doing today?
Nervous? We're gonna have a baby today. Yep, I'm excited.
Show me. Just waiting around all day. Till our appointment.
Where's he gonna be soon?
Baby's room. I'm gonna have to put pictures in there still. It's last bump. Crazy. About to go have a baby. I mean, from in here. I don't know. Ew. Have to be a dad. It's freezing in here. Freezing. Laying down.
Okay, today she is wearing a sweater. Yes.
Day 4 after C-section and baby. I haven't shown you him yet. We will. Pat's parents are here to meet him, but I just wanted to pop on the vlog and say hi because I realized that after the C-section I didn't even vlog anything because I was in so much pain and just like the recovery was a bit more rough than I thought, which I'll get into eventually. But hi, we're here, we're thriving, we're surviving, baby's doing well. And I'll show you him. Hi guys, welcome back. It is currently September 8th, so this video is way long overdue. It's over 3 months since Coast was born. I just honestly have not had the time, and that's a true testament to what parenthood has been like. Okay, so the last few months, which I've shared a lot on Instagram and TikTok and everything, so I feel like if you guys follow me there, you've definitely seen the majority of what we've been up to. Honestly, the first few weeks were so great, but they were also really hard. I did have a C-section, and I think on my vlog before this I talked about like my high-risk pregnancy, so you can go back and watch that if you want to hear more about that, because I did kind of share like everything that went on. So leading up to my, I'm just gonna get right into the story, but leading up to my birth, I knew that I was going to be induced on 37 weeks and 0 days exactly. They did not want me to go past 37 weeks in 1 day. And I did have a lot of back and forth in my head and my brain being like, you know, I was kind of like listening to doctors versus listening to my intuition, my gut. And at that point, I was just like, I wanted him to get out, because I just wanted him to be healthy and safe and happy, and that was kind of like what we had to do. So we were planning on going in at 37 weeks and doing an induction, whether he was breech or not. So up the few weeks before that, I was trying to do everything I could to like turn him, and he was just sitting feet down. He was just like not interested in moving. And my doctor was like, oh, we could do like an aversion, which is where they like physically take their hands and they turn the baby on the outside. And I was just like, I heard kind of like horror stories about this, so I don't really want to do that. I did not want a C-section. Like I think there's this misconception that that's like the easy way out, and it was not. I have never obviously had a vaginal birth before because I had a C-section, but it was crazy. So we went in that day, and I was super nervous, but I was also like really excited to meet him. It had just been like a long pregnancy and a long journey, and I was like, this was a tough pregnancy mentally for me. So I was excited. We get there, we're like waiting not that long. It was scheduled, so there was really like, kind of knew exactly what was gonna happen. And at first I went in being like, okay, I'm so anxious to be, my anxiety going into the C-section was being numb from like here down. I was just like really nervous about like having a panic attack. So I asked them if they could give me something. And at first the anesthesiologist came in, he was like, yeah, we can, like, we'll see, but also like, we don't really recommend it because we want you to be fully aware. And we also, it's not good for the baby if we do. So immediately I was like, okay, well, I'm probably not gonna do that then. I just have to suck it up and get through it. So the best part about it is that like, it's very quick. It was truly, we were in there for probably a total of 40 minutes. They rolled me back and Pat had to wait. He couldn't be in there with me until the spinal was done. And I don't really know why. I think it's more just like so he doesn't pass out. I'm not really sure, but I get in there, I sit on the table. My doctor, who is absolutely amazing, I love her so much, she was holding my hands, and she's like, okay, they're gonna do the spinal and then we're gonna like let you down. So they put the spinal in, and I remember being like moving, like jolting, because it was like a pinch. So it kind of just like startled me and was like kind of painful. And I think he like maybe didn't do it right the first time or something. And then immediately after that, he got it in, I didn't feel it, and it was perfect. So all in all, I like squeezed my doctor's hands and I was like, oh my God, but then it was totally fine. And then I don't feel anything, but they like move me, lay my legs down, start to get like prepped. And then slowly but surely the warmth takes over and my whole body goes completely numb. But they said it would take like a few minutes, and they kept doing these like cold patches on me where they would like put this cold patch on my cheek and be like, do you feel that? And I would be like, yes. And they would put it on like my ribs and my stomach and be like, do you feel that? And I was like, yes. And then they'd be like, okay, we have to wait a little longer, which is so scary. Eventually they put it on me and I couldn't feel it. I was completely numb. And I remember there was this one, then they brought Pat in. And I remember there was this one moment where I was like, because this is how my dumb brain works, I was like, try to move your legs inside my brain. This is like me talking to myself being like, try to move your legs, like see if you can do it. And I couldn't. And then I started to slowly but surely panic. And I was like, oh my God, like I have to get through this. There's nothing I can do. I know that I can't move. It's not gonna be that long. So I did like almost slightly have a panic attack, but like knowing that that was gonna happen, I just had to breathe through it. And I did, and obviously he's here. But Pat came in and I remember him sitting by me, and we were just chatting, and they allowed us to have a playlist, which was a game changer. If you're having a C-section, I would highly recommend doing a playlist if your doctor allows it, because it just really like was able to bring a little bit more of that like special moment into it, since I'm not pushing the baby out, which I do feel like a C-section takes away a little bit of like
that intimate moment with your baby, because like he's not coming out of you in a natural way. So the playlist just kind of helped. He actually ended up coming out to our wedding song, which was kind of cool. And having Pat there by my side was like the best thing. Like I just obviously needed him. There was a point where I got pretty nauseous, and then he did like give me something and it helped. And then there was another point where it happened again. He was like, I kind of used everything that I can to help you with your nausea. So I had to just kind of get through that, but it was fine. Like it kind of didn't last that long. And then I remember them being like, oh, like there's a leg, and I was like getting excited then. So once that was probably like 15-20 minutes in, and then they brought the baby out, and that was when it started to get easier, because like I'm thinking about him. So I do remember they brought him over, they finally pulled him out. I didn't feel them like pull him out. I just felt like tugging before. Like you're numb, but you are feeling pressure, which is just odd. And I remember kind of shaking a ton, but I knew that was gonna happen. So knowing it ahead of time is really helpful. And that was like kind of the research I wanted to do, where I wanted to be like pretty prepared, but not like overly prepared. And I think I was. So then they were like, okay, he's about to be here. And it was exciting. Like they brought him out and they brought him over to me. But I do remember my first thought being like, what is that? Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I was like, what the fuck is that? And he was just like really swollen and purple, like newborn babies are. And I was just like, oh my God. And then they went and like cleaned him up a little bit, and then they immediately brought him over to me, and it was a great feeling. It was just like, wow, all that work. And he's like totally healthy. He was born at 4 pounds and 7 ounces, so that is very tiny, obviously. And I've already kind of talked about that a little bit, but we knew he was gonna be small. But he didn't need to go into the NICU or anything. Like he was totally healthy and fine. Obviously we had to stay for a few days. And then this is where it kind of gets blurry, because they're like trying to like breastfeed a little bit, and it was actually going really well. And then they're like, okay, I remember my doctor literally peeking over the curtain to me and being like, bye, you did so good. And then she just like bounced, which was so funny. She was the best part of my whole experience. This is where it gets a little crazy. Not crazy, but if you guys have given birth before, I'm sure you're in like this nice hospital, you have your private room, it's supposed to be like healing and whatever, and I did not have that hospital experience at all. I gave birth at NYU Langone, so that's in Brooklyn. And the best thing about NYU to me was that the care was great. Like my doctor, I never felt like I was not going to be cared for, and the doctors are amazing. So on that end, my doctor was perfect. She is everything that I could have asked for. But as soon as she's gone, you know, then she's done her job. And then I'm in this hospital that I did not get my own room after the surgery. So I'm sharing a room with another person who just gave birth and their baby. You might be jaws dropped at this point because you've never heard of that. Me neither. But I did know going into it that I was probably gonna share a room. And at first I was really upset because I was like, that's just like not the experience I had hoped for and planned for. And Pat was trying to talk me off a ledge and was like, it's okay, it is what it is. Like we can't really do anything about it. We get rolled into a room, and actually my parents were kind of like on their way to come meet the baby. And then it's nighttime, so I think he came out at like 4:30, and then by the time we got into the room, it was like 6:30 maybe, into like the recovery room. And it was just, I'm not really gonna get into like full details, but like dark, curtain in between me and this other person, no room for Pat, no room for me. I don't know, it just felt like really crammed and like not the experience I had hoped for after giving birth or having a major surgery. Looking back, I will not give birth there again. I would love to have my doctor again, but like just the whole experience, we stayed for 2 nights. They wanted us to stay there for 3 nights, and we were literally begging to go home. I could not wait. In terms of the recovery, I do think that's kind of why I feel like my recovery was not that it was supposed to be easy, but it just wasn't good. I feel like I've recovered fine, but I do feel like I struggled a lot. And I've talked to people who have said like the recovery is hard, but I've talked to other people who were like, oh yeah, it was like, you know, a few days. I truly like couldn't walk for like a week to 10 days without help, at least. And I know that's like kind of normal, but I just feel like I was very active during my pregnancy, and I just thought it would be easier, to be honest. Maybe I was just naive. What else? So Pat did not look at what was going on. I did not have any photos of what was going on. I was like, I just feel like I'm not gonna wanna see that. And I know that he wasn't going to want to, but although he could have like totally looked over the curtain if he wanted to. I think I just backtracked a little bit. So basically we go into the recovery room and I couldn't walk, but I didn't try to walk for probably 12 hours, which was fine. My parents came and met the baby, and then we didn't sleep, obviously, and there was another baby in the room, so it was just kind of like, this is really weird. So I don't feel like I had this like bliss experience after the baby came until we got home. But yeah, the recovery is really no joke. Like, I cannot lie. If you guys are having a C-section, I don't want to scare anybody, but like, it is hard. They're cutting through like 7 layers of skin, cutting through your abs. Like, it's crazy. You will recover. You will be fine. But yeah, I couldn't go home until I could go to the bathroom peeing on my own. So the next day they took like obviously the catheter out and everything. And then, I think I did end up going to the bathroom on my own. So we were like, okay, I'm ready to go. They had to come in and do like a bunch of tests for Coast. Like, they had to like prick his heel for like a sugar test, like every hour. On top of that, I'm like trying to feed. It's just like a crazy thing. Like, I was very emotional in the hospital. I remember crying a lot just because I was like so excited and happy that he was healthy, but also they're like trying to help you breastfeed, and we had lactation consultants, and that was like game changer, so helpful, but so overwhelming at the same time. So on the second day, Pat and I were like, we are going home today. Like, I cannot bear to be here another day, to be honest. So we were like, hey, can we go home? And it honestly took them like 5 hours to like double check everything. But we did end up being able to go home after the second night. And let me tell you that being home is blissful, especially going from the hospital to being home. It's like just such a better experience. I mean, there's truly nothing like your own home. Obviously, we like prepped and cleaned, and because it was a scheduled C-section, we were able to like have someone watch Willow, and we were able to like clean the apartment and get it ready like pretty much right before. So for the first few days after we were home, Pat was pretty much doing everything because I like physically could not besides feed him. So we had Coast laying, he actually is still on Pat's side of the bed because it just kind of like worked out that way. So Pat basically in the middle of the night would like lift him up, hand him to me, and then I would feed him and we put him back to sleep. In terms of like the C-section itself, I would say overall it was a good experience. It was pretty much what I expected, which is great. There was nothing like really unexpected besides of how hard I felt like the recovery was, although I knew it was going to be hard. I would say the hardest part about my recovery was going to the bathroom. Oh my God, that is like, you're so gassy, you have gas bubbles, but yet you have this huge incision across you that just, it really, it's hard. I'm sorry, it's really hard. But you can get through it. I did. And if I did, being somebody who was terrified, then literally anybody can. So the first, like, yeah, that was probably like the first few days, and it was like fun. Like, honestly, the first 2 weeks were like adrenaline rush, everything. It was really fun for me and Pat to just like try and figure everything out on our own and be together, and like the experience with Pat and me together in the hospital, and like I was looking forward to that so much because I just was like, it's just, especially your first baby, it's just like once in a lifetime thing with you and your partner that you're never going to experience again. And it was so special. Honestly, it was so special having him there, like rooting for me and cheering me on, and just like being my biggest cheerleader and support system, because you really do need that. Do you hear the baby crying? Pat might be picking his nose. We pull 1,000 boogers out of that kid like every day, and he hates it, but it needs to be done. In terms of his name, we actually, okay, I'm that girl. I had a list of baby names for probably since I was like 14, just because it's fun to come up with. Coast was not on there. He was not on there at all ever until the end, not even till the end. Pat just like, I think he might have seen it somewhere one day, and he was like, he texted me and he said, what do you think about Coast? And I was at first kind of like, okay, I actually like that, but I was also like, is it too out there? And then I was talking to my friends about it, and they were kind of like, I actually know other people with the name Coast for boy and girl. And that kind of made me feel better about it too, because I wanted a unique name, but I did not want something like so insanely wild. So I do feel like I had a happy medium there. And we had 2 other names that we liked, and we were like, let's just decide when he comes. So we have him, probably like 24 hours go by, or no, not even, probably like 8 hours go by and we still didn't pick the name. And then Pat was texting our family and he was like, okay, I'm gonna write a text up to text them like the name of the baby, and then everything went well. And I'll show it to you. And I was like, okay. So basically I let him just like pick, but I think we telepathically knew that it was gonna be Coast from the day before. Just that we both were like, that was the one that we both agreed on the most. There was another name that I loved and another name that he loved, but this was like the middle ground for us, that we're both like, we both love this name. So he texted Coast Jacobson Oconnor, which Jacobson's my last name, and so that's his middle name. And he wrote, was born, everyone's healthy, happy. So showed it to me and I was like, that's it. And we just love it. And now it's like, he just is Coast. I don't know, like I can't describe it. I think when you have kids and you name them, they just become their names. So we were really happy with the name, and he's just getting cuter literally by the day. I'm obsessed with him. I actually was very fearful that I was gonna have a lot of postpartum anxiety or maybe like the bonding issue, and I did not. But I also do think with my anxiety, because I had been doing acupuncture for so long, obviously I talk about that all the time, and I did go, I think, a week or two after he was born to just keep up with it. And I think that has helped for sure. Like I think it's kept my levels really, my hormone levels and everything like as level as possible, since giving birth is like where they jump the most. So that is the story. I feel like all in all, it was fine. Will I do it again? Probably. Am I ready? No. Like thinking about doing it all again is definitely like, oh my God, it's scary. I can't really imagine doing it again, but I will. It still hasn't fully faded either from like my high risk pregnancy, and then also like my hospital experience. I'm like, if I could just do it in a better hospital, in like a place that was more comfortable, I feel like my recovery would have been 10 times better. So that would be my plan next time. But we're not there yet, okay? We're still figuring out all this shit, because the first 10 days, like I said, are actually like blissful, besides the fact that you're really tired. I would say up until 6 weeks is when we figured out like, okay, we kind of feel like we have it going on. Like we feel like we know what we're doing. We're still only 3 months in, and I am just starting to feel like myself again, like body wise. Oh my God, my throat hurts from like talking. I feel like there's a lot of postpartum things that you just like deal with, but maybe I can do another video about that and do like some Q&A questions about just like motherhood and how it's going and everything. I just wanted to give you guys like the full birth story and know that everything went great, and I would do it again, and not to be scared, although it's totally normal. Will I have a C-section again? I'm not sure. Like if I have the option to have a vaginal birth, I don't know if I would take it. I'm just like really not there yet. We're still thinking about what's going on right now, but we love him. I'm so obsessed with him, and yeah. So thank you guys for watching. I feel like the bond with Pat and him has grown so much too. I do think that's like not talked about a ton, how like, you know, I carry him for 9 months and then Pat doesn't really get to feel that, obviously, and then he's born and you just have to like latch on to him, which I feel like he did pretty well, and we have been basically tag teaming and like co-parenting like 50-50. So it's been really good. I think that we're still trying to figure out everything, but we actually have our first trip where we're gonna fly with Coast coming up in October. I'm freaking out. I really am freaking out, but I think it'll be fine. It'll go great. That's what I'm telling myself, so that I don't spiral. Anyway, I'm so happy I finally got to do this video. I know it was a long time coming. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. I just truly, it was like the last thing on my list, but I'm so happy that I got around to it. I love you guys so much. Comment what you want to see next, comment what you want to know, and maybe I'll do another video like kind of asking or answering some of your questions. Until then, I'm excited to be back on here and do more like day in the lives with baby and all that stuff. But if you want more of that content now, go to my TikTok, because I've been doing a lot on there. Love you so much. Bye.